Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Okay, guys. Right, we'll go right into it. We've decided 4 topics between ourselves, and I want to know who you see as the best Olympia onstage rivalry from 1995 onwards. Over to you guys.
Okay, maybe I should be first because I competed in the 90s, and then Dennis can chip in and then in the 2000s. Well, let me put it this way. I competed in every Olympia. I qualified for every Olympia from 91 to 2000, and I competed in 7 of them. I didn't touch the subject, though. You said that Peter McGough discussed 92, 93, 94. I would say 93 was a breakthrough year because they gave Dorian with the freaky physique, freakish, oh my God, look over Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, those aesthetic guys. And once we touched that subject, I think that was, in my opinion, wrong direction because from the beauty of Mr. Olympias, from Frank Zane's, from aesthetic physiques, now muscle mass was awarded as the #1 criteria. You know, when I was talking to you about the judging, when I say what should be considered in the judging, I think first should be aesthetics, which is shape, X-frame, V-taper, and then you have a round muscle bellies. That this cartoonish character, when you see Superman in a cartoons, this is the look we're looking for. So aesthetics and shape should be first, of course. Then balance. Okay, everything has to be there. So what do you do now if one body part is overdeveloped, like Dorian? His back was tremendous, but everything else, okay. Do you get awarded or you get penalized? Okay, then let's talk about conditioning. When you talk about conditioning, what do you consider there? Just dryness, how lean, you know, how full, all these, you know, things. So 1993, going to Mr. Olympia, as you remember, Flex Wheeler came that year winning every show, and he was, you know, possibly favorite to win, dethrone Dorian, but Dorian came like 25 pounds heavier. Pictures 6 weeks before the show just won him that show. And the judges gave Dorian over Flex and Sean on the basis of, conditioning. But Sean and Flex were conditioned. They were, you know, look at the pictures, you know, they were there. They had a better shape, the better aesthetics, but Dorian win just by that brutal mass. Okay. 94, Dorian came off big time. You know, so if you remember,
big time off, was he? Big time?
1994.
You think he was off big time in that one?
Oh, big time.
Okay. Well, you were in it, so.
I mean, I can also post some pictures. I mean, I was there, especially pre-judging. He was, let me put it this way. When I say Dorian, it's big time off for Dorian. Because let's say in 95, Dorian's conditioning was out of this world. I was there in the first row watching. I think that was the greatest conditioning of anybody I've ever seen, including Andreas Munzer. I mean, so, you know, that's what when you compare conditioning, 94, Dorian was off. In pre-judging, it was a trouble. And 94, Sean and Cabin were great. And not just that, I went to European Grand Prix Tour 94. And in German Grand Prix, there was 2 points between Cabin and Dorian. There was a possibility for Dorian to be dethroned right there. Bernd Beiderbecke could tell you a little bit more. He was a promoter. So when we talk about, okay, 95 and on, 95 Olympia, Dorian won without a question. He was so fucking conditioned. It was so impressive. But like I said, 94, I would question his victory. And 93, I don't support judges' direction. Now they were dictating, okay, that's what we want to see. Muscle mass means more than just aesthetics and balance and, you know, shape. You know, this was, I think, a big mistake. 96, okay, and 95 also, Nasser arrived. Nasser put himself as a, you know, major contender. I'll be short, Dennis. I'll be short. 96, Nasser was third, I think, but they took away. It was Dorian's victory. Sean was good. Okay. Cabin was good. And then 97, final year, the Dorian compete. Again, I think he was off. I think the Nasser deserves the victory. They didn't give it to him. We go to European tour in 97. Kevin started winning, dominating, with Ronnie taking over on the last show. So that's my take on 95, 96, 97. I don't want to Dennis to
let's.
All right, but now here's what I want to know.
Come on, Dennis.
I want to know where's the rivalry? Who is it? Who has the biggest rivalry?
So 1 second, guys. You've mentioned Nasser, Sean Ray, Flex Wheel, and Kevin Navarone. Dennis and Milos. Who was the best rivalry out of all of those names? With who?
Okay, up to 95. I think the most of us agree. Kevin, Flex, and Sean were potentially uncrowned Mr. Olympias because they all had that something in them. They placed second, third, fourth all the time, right? From 95, Kevin was still there. Nasser emerged 95, 96, 97. And if you ask me, he beat Dorian 97. Okay? Mm-hmm. When you look at the 1996 Olympia, look at
Sean Ray should have won that one.
Oh!
What do you say?
I think Sean Ray should have got that one.
Yeah, too. I agree.
I think the biggest rivalry in 93 was, of course, with Flex. Mm-hmm. 94, it was with Sean. Mm-hmm. 95, Kevin. 96, Sean. 97, Nasser. So he had a rivalry basically every year.
Okay. If you're putting it just one guy, yeah, I would completely agree with you with each and every year. If you were putting only one guy. But Dennis, this is what you also talk about it. Is this really between two guys or guys that are so fucking good, so fucking close, it can go either way? Yeah. Sean maybe edged Kevin 96, right? 97, stuff. But when I say rivalry, back in the 90s when we were going into the show, there was always that enigma. Flex, Kevin, Sean. How they're gonna?
That was the rivalry. Sean, Kevin, and Flex.
Yeah. But okay, you tell me because and that is, I love your commentary. I love your when you judge somebody. I pretty much always see it the same way. But let's not talk about a touchy subject because every time you talk about a winner and he say maybe he didn't deserve to win, then people get pissed off. Oh, you're jealous, your ass, and all this shit.
Unfortunately, that's the way it is. But hey, if you want to analyze someone and people ask you, you got to be honest. You got to let them know the way you see it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I know the Gilles was a little bit short. 96, I would also give it to Sean. 94, look at the pictures. Dorian was so off. Smooth in the prejudging, watery. Biceps was missing. That was
the biceps was missing in 94.
94, yeah.
Yes.
That's the year.
Yeah,
I thought he tore it in 96.
No, he tore it in February. It was February 94, and he did the triceps 6 weeks before. Well, a few weeks before the 97 Olympia. That was right. Yeah.
But what we're talking about. Dorian's condition was always good. You can't say 95 was out of this world, fucking super dry. In 94, he was off. You know how somebody is good from the front, not from the back? Dorian was crazy from the back, even 94, but from the front, you could see he was soft. So Kevin and Sean could have taken him in that one. If you ask me, Kevin could take him in 92 Olympia also. But this was that deciding factor, which way you're going to go. So if I can just touch that subject, because I think that Dennis, even though Dennis was mass monster, freakish guy, right? So he would probably favor freaky guys, right? And I'm more aesthetic, so I would be looking for more aesthetic.
That's not true. I don't favor the freaks.
Yeah, I know you don't. I know. But I would say by your appearance and by your strengths, it would be expectable that, oh yeah, you were such a freak, right? And you want that muscle mass, you want to overpower everybody, and let's talk about it. I mean, really, Dennis, you never touched that subject. Back in the time when I worked with you, right? I did always want to go for this freak factor that you have, just like a fucking Ronnie. When you bring that chest and shoulders, like, oh my God, right? So, seriously. So for me, that was the thing. We never really discussed it, but stepping on a stage, I think that many times you had a flattish chest. That is not that chest that I used to seeing in a gym. I took a thousands of photos of you, most muscular. He was like, Ronnie doesn't have that. Fucking most muscular, side chest. He was like, shit. But so we are talking about this freak factor. Freak factor is what Dorian won 93, and then it carried him. 94, we agree he didn't deserve to win. Sean. 96, he doesn't deserve to win. It's also again Sean. 97 was Nasser. Okay, so it's I know it's tough for you, Gilles. You're an English guy, and you're touching him. But
I was actually a bigger Kevin Lavone fan and a Sean Ray fan than Dorian Yates. Dorian was about my 4th or 5th favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just congratulated Kevin his birthday, and I said he's for sure Mr. Olympia. But you know, Kevin also brought to Arnold Classic many times better version than the Olympia. And
same with Flex Wheeler.
You know,
same with Flex Wheeler.
Yeah.
Correct, Dennis?
So now when Dennis pointed out, okay, rivalry is just like one guy each year. Then okay, if I have to narrow down, I agree with you, Dennis. 94, 95, Dorian won. 94 was Sean. 96 was Sean. 97 was Nasser. 98, okay, Ronnie won fair and square, even though there was
but there was no rivalry because nobody had Ronnie on the radar.
Yeah, no, yeah. Going into the show, it was Nasser, Flex show to be and Kevin. Nasser, Flex, Kevin to be battling for the title, and here comes Ronnie. And I don't know if you guys were at that show, but I was. And I tell you, backstage I was with Ronnie, and I look at him. He was right next to me. He was kind of smoothish, watery, right? Okay. And they didn't call him first call, second, third, fourth. He was in the first 4 callouts. And then they called him. And boom, boom, boom. And you can just see him getting drier and fuller, and goddamn. By the end of the prejudging, here was Ronnie, and he bent over. It was his hamstring and glutes right here. And I was like, oh, shit. But I had to touch it, actually.
How many times in your career can you recall someone not getting called in the first 3 call-outs and he's going to end up winning the show? How many times did that happen over your career?
Not too many times. Okay, you see, I had it with Gustavo 2004. He was not called at all. He was like
Patel.
And then he would move it up all the way to top 3. He was not top 10 contender. You do have it. But why is this? Okay, so now it's maybe a good moment to talk about judging, right? Judging have the list of competitors, and before they step on the stage, you can call the first call out, right? I mean, let's be honest. You have the list of contenders. You know who's going to be in, first call out, even if they're somewhat off. And then if somebody is really on, okay, they give him a chance, and then maybe they can move up. But it's always preconceived. This is what we're gonna expect. So Dorian had to be there, of course. Kevin, Flex, Sean had to be there, and then the others. Depends.
Is it true? Is it true that in '93? Because this is what Dorian told me one time. He said he didn't get a call out.
Yeah, it's possible because he didn't get the by the IBB rules. If you don't get the call out, you cannot place. Guarantee. If you read this back in the 90s, so he had to get, but they maybe left him until the last call out.
I think I don't remember exactly, but he mentioned something. He didn't get a call out in the symmetry round. I think that they called him in the muscularity round.
They didn't call Dorian Yates out in the symmetry round in 1993. Is that what you're saying?
He said he didn't get a call out. He said, I knew right away I'm first or last.
Wow. I did not know that.
He had to get at least one.
Yeah.
There was Dorian, Paul Gillette, and Lou Ferrino. If you look at the pictures. And there was many. Dorian with Sean and Flex and Kevin. Yeah. But
93. I just started, so I don't really know too much other than from videos because I wasn't following bodybuilding at that time.
Well,
but we agreed that 98. I mean, it was a shocker with Ronnie. For me, 98. Even though you said 2001 Arnold Classic maybe is Ronnie's best. For me, 98. Olympia was Ronnie's best when I look it back. When I do.
So, guys, can we move on to like the turn of the millennium? I mean, you've got like Jay versus Ronnie. You had Kai versus Phil. You had, I mean, name some other rivalries. What about in the turn of the millennium, the last 20 years? What would you say has been the greatest onstage rivalry, the one that really gets the fans amped up?
Well, the greatest one, the one that really everybody felt throughout the world was, of course, Ronnie and Jay, because they went first and second for like 6 years. So this went on forever until finally Jay beat him. And, you know, and he probably did beat him in 2001 where he didn't get it, Jay. So Jay was pissed. He didn't come back in 2002. I remember there was a lot of things going on with the diuretic test, and he supposedly failed the test with 5 different diuretics in his system. And I remember because 2001 I placed 7th.
Yeah.
And then when Jay was disqualified, I said, "Oh wow, I'm 6th."
Yeah.
So now I should get a bigger check. But I guess Jay sued the IFBB, and then nothing happened.
Do you think Jay missed a trick in 2002? Because I was there that year, and that was when Ronnie kind of wanted to downsize a little bit to bring the waistline in.
What?
Do you think he missed a trick? Do you think he missed his opportunity in 2002?
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean missed the opportunity? He did what he had to do. He was spot on.
No. He said Jay didn't compete 2002.
At the Olympia. The Olympia. That was the year I think he could have took it.
Well, I guess Jay wanted to prove a point.
Yeah, I think that should be his biggest regret, because 2002, if you remember, Ronnie came smaller. It was not anything fabulous. That's the year that Gunther beat him in a GNC show, last show of the year.
Yeah.
Gunther also, like Ronnie in '98, came into 2002 Olympia like underdog, and then he looked so good, and audience basically, put him in the top 5, and it was the People's Champ. Then I went with Ronnie to European Grand Prix Tour. I was with him in Amsterdam. You were there. Yeah. And then Ronnie goes back to GNC and loses to Gunther. So if you and then Jay Cutler came 2003 in Ironman looking freaky. So 2003 Jay at the Ironman, it's probably one of the best versions of Jay. If you project this on 2002 Olympia stage, he could have won. I agree with Dennis. 2001, I think I would give it to Jay. I told Jay the other day, I said, Jay, if you ask me, you won 2001, but you didn't deserve 2007. I told him.
Jay, actually, Jay won the first 2 rounds with 6 points each round, and Ronnie had 9 points. So basically, Ronnie was 6 points behind Jay after prejudging.
Can I say something really controversial here?
Yeah.
I think that I've said this to Jay. I've said this in an interview. I said I think there's a better argument for him winning the 2005 Olympia than the 2001.
Okay, well,
that was the year he really caught Ronnie up from the back.
I don't think anybody caught Ronnie from the back when Ronnie was on. I don't think so.
No, but what Gilles is talking about, 2005, you can start seeing a damage in the left side of Ronnie's back. You could.
Yeah, Ronnie was declining already.
Yeah. And then he does back double biceps, which was fucking outrageous. Oh, left is not flexing. Left is smaller. You can see it. Last spread also. You know how Ronnie also, when he does last spread, he puts his traps.
Puts his traps out. Yeah, he puts his traps,
So I agree that it was competitive, 2005. But I think that Ronnie still won fair and square. But 2001, I didn't expect Jay looking like this. And he was standing right next to Ronnie. And I look, and feathers all over, deep abs. And you know how Ronnie would stand in a relaxed pose with the drop shoulders, look narrow and not great abs. Another thing that Ronnie, with the greatest legs that he had, he never really kept them separated. You can see when Ronnie does ab pose and then he lifts his leg, there is separation. Oh, you have it. But in other poses, he doesn't. So we can go over thousands of photos. He didn't flex his legs. Huge, but no separation. And this is what Jay was like.
Don't you think if and this is not a knock on Ronnie, there's nothing you cannot knock Ronnie. But don't you think if Ronnie would be a better poser, he would be even better?
Yes. Well, that is maybe you didn't hear this, so I'm going to say it in front of you because I said it to Gillis last time. Yeah, for me, Jay Cutler in 2009 would beat Ronnie at his best. But yeah, but I reconsidered this and really analyzed it. Said it's no way. But I'm going to tell you why.
Yes.
Yeah.
I fell off my chair when you said that.
Back officially, because when you look at some pictures nowadays in the goddamn social media and all that stuff, I don't even consider it something that can be photoshopped, right? I didn't think, because when you see the video, you say, but then, oh, look at this, like so many pictures, and then the guy sent me, hey, that's not the real photo. This is the real photo. Like, god damn! But
so you were looking at Photoshop pictures?
Yeah, but I couldn't tell the difference really.
Right.
I wouldn't. I just know that 2009. Jay impressed me in person because 2008 Dexter beat him. 2009, Jay showed up, and for me, within 1 minute, I called his mobile phone and said, "Congratulations, you won." I mean, he was so dominant. But then projecting him with Ronnie as his best, I thought so, but no, Ronnie he was just way too overpowering, lifting arms, the crazy biceps, crazy back, So I take that back officially. So Gillis, when we talked about it, I considered it, and I just said it that way, but I take it back.
Okay. So who pushed Phil Heath the hardest then? Who was the greatest rivalry for him?
Kai Green.
No question.
End of story.
End of story.
Yeah.
Phil's been pushed by others, but he's never been pushed like he's been pushed by Kai Green. It's the same as Jay and Ronnie. It was kind of Phil and that was going on for 3-4 years back to back. You know what I mean?
Dennis,
and it'll probably still go on today if they would both compete, if they would get up off their asses and decide to compete, which they should.
Dennis, do you think there's an argument for Kai ever winning any of those years over Phil?
No, I don't think so. You know what? Listen, these guys they're all great.
Yeah.
You can make an argument. Yes, but you can't take the wins away from Phil in 2010, 11, 12, and 13. There's nothing you can take away. You know what I mean? He was just too good. You know what I mean? And even though that Kai was a bigger version, but when they stand next to each other, you saw really what was going on, especially when they turned around. Kai's great. Kai's got a great back, but Phil is complete with detail that no one else has.
Yeah. Do you concur, Milos?
Can I build on this one now? Super important. Everything you said, Dennis, is spot on. Perfect. Beautiful. But didn't Dorian beat Flex Wheeler, Kevin, and Sean on the basis of being bigger, more muscular?
Yeah. And I said the same. I think they should have gave it to Flex in '93.
Exactly.
They should have gave it to Sean. So I'm with you there. I'm not a judge.
Exactly. So what the DJ is saying, and I agree completely. This is how we see a sport. It should be aesthetics, right? So Flex and Kevin and Sean, should have an edge over Dorian. Muscle mass, it's not just one deciding factor. Okay. So Kai,
well, you see it today. You see it. It followed this more today because if that would be like it was in the early '90s, Ronnie should win every show.
Yeah. But also
not.
At 90s judging, Kai could have a chance to beat Phil, with the 90s judging because bigger is better. And I'm glad that they changed it and they're now supporting more aesthetics, shape, V-taper, all this stuff. So now Rami is at the other wonder because Rami is like so goddamn big, but it's also still aesthetic, right? He can make argument. But speaking of Phil and Kai, I think that 1 year Kai was very close but I was not in the States, so I didn't really see the.
Well, that's 2014.
14. Okay. I thought you were going to say 2012 or 2013 because I know 2012 Kai was.
2013 Phil was at his best.
Yeah, he was at his biggest, wasn't he? In 2012, I know Kai was a little bit flat for the prejudging, and he kind of pulled it out of the bag for the night show, but obviously Mr. Saturday Night pulled it out of the bag also and kind of managed to hold on. But I heard that was the one where, because I know he certainly tried to catch up with him on the post-Olympia tours. I know that Kai kind of got better, you know, so it was a real kind of a tight match.
What year was the movie Generation Iron released?
2012.
No.
You sure? 2012?
No, it had to be later.
Okay, maybe 2013. I'm just guessing.
Because I remember that year they had the movie premiere in Los Angeles. It's like 2 weeks before the Olympia.
Yeah.
So the movie came out, and the movie was kind of like, they put it together like Kai is the poor guy, lives in the fucking ghetto, which all wasn't really true. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They went there to film, you know, and acted like he's the poor guy. Phil is the one bathing in rose fucking water and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they made it look like, you know, everybody's rooting for the underdog. It's normal. I remember that year when Phil came out, you know, Mr. Olympia comes out for his mandatory at the very end. The crowd booed him.
Hero villain.
Just based off the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was where I felt like they did feel kind of wrong with this Generation Iron, because he was portrayed as the lucky guy that has everything from birth. You know what I mean? He grew up with the greatest family and blah blah blah. So it was kind of like, it wasn't really a real documentary, I think.
I think it really hurt his. I spoke to Phil because we did that UK tour with him last year, and he said it kind of. It definitely, and then obviously the explosion of social media and people going at him, and I think it kind of gave like a skewed kind of vision of who Phil really is, and I think that was kind of hanging over him most of his Olympia wins. I think because he was something special, Phil, and I think we all miss him now actually.